year 1978, in one of the most memorable races in Iditarod history, Rick Swenson vying for his second title, and it is the finish of the race that will forever be etched into minds. But this was one of the most competitive races on record.
I don't think Swenson and I were more than, we weren't more than a quarter of a mile apart from rowing on. And most of the time, you know, my dogs was hitting his sled or his was doing it to mine. I frustrated him all the way, intentionally. Yeah, I just drove him wild. Yeah, and a few times he let me know. Yeah, but you know, we had equal teams. That's all there was to it.
Right up. Right up.
As we pulled in, Swenson said, "This is it for me. I ain't gonna die out here." I should have said okay, but I said, "Rick," I says, "I've lived here long enough in this Nome area to know that when we hit Hastings, the wind will quit." I says, "All we got to do is get there." "Oh, okay."
What would happen next will live in Iditarod lore forever. There had never been a race this close, and there may never be another again. As they reached Front Street in Nome, less than a mile to go, the winner still in question.
Just before we come up onto the street, Rick turned around to me and said, "Stay right there and we'll come in first and second." And I thought, yeah, really?
As an exhausted Mackey reaches the chute, Swenson is literally feet behind.
And I'm running alongside the sled when they crossed the finish line. And Swenson stopped, same as I did, when his dogs crossed the finish line. Then somebody said, "You got to get your sled, team, and everything across the finish line." And if you look in the film, I'm going, no, I don't.
The greatest finish in race history is also the most controversial.
I was in the chute. Tom Bush was in the chute, giving his famous Hindenburg, my God, it's Mackey, it's Swenson, it's Mackey, it's Swenson."
Here comes Dick Mackey, Rick Swenson. They're all running in. They look tired. The dogs look awfully good. They both have their hats off. Mackey is running. Oh, my God. We have Swenson. The team is pulling up almost neck and neck. And Mackey just stopped at the finish line. Neither of them has crossed the finish line at this point. And I don't know what we're called.
It was a minute of intense confusion. And of course I'm trying to call it, and I think it was probably the worst broadcast I've ever done in my entire life. But we were confused. I mean, we didn't know what to report. We could report what we saw, but you know, what did that mean for the race?
Dick Mackey's lead dog was the first to cross the finish line, but he collapsed, and Swenson was able to get his sled over the line first. So was it the lead dog or the sled that decides the winner?
Every dog race that ever was, as long as you broke the plane of the finish line, that was a finish.
Myron Gavin was one of the race marshals standing on the street, and Bud Smith was out on the trail. He doesn't know what to do. And for some unknown reason, it came out of my mouth, and I pointed at the race marshal and I said, "The race marshal says it's the nose of the lead dog." Well, it was decided right there.
All I can really say about the whole deal in the end after 20 years is that I'm damn glad I was there.
Despite legend that a call was made to Race Marshal Dick Tozier, who was in Anchorage, and a call may have been made, but the winner was declared that day on Front Street in Nome.
There was indecision for several minutes, though. And during that time, people were going berserk, because what a lot of people don't realize, back in those days, boy, there was a lot of betting going on. 515 Club was holding over $500,000. Vaughn Page won $5 grand off of one of the local bars when I won. He thought that's great, bought me a drink.
That night at my house, Rick Swenson was my house guest, and I spent a lot of time that night convincing Rick Swenson that it was better to have lost by a second than to raise a hullabaloo with Iditarod. And I think he was a big man and a better man for never having raised that issue.
Whether it was the nose of a lead dog or the brush bow of a sled, 1978 will always be a reminder to competitors how every minute, every second can make a difference, even over 1,000 miles.